Okay, so if you've been following along so far in the previous tutorials, you'll have produced a revolved shape and shelled it out to make the body of the mug, and you would have produced a profile and a path to sweep the handle around the actual mug itself. Okay, in this video what we're going to do is we're going to just smooth off some of the edges to make it look a bit more realistic. We're going to put a fillet on the top rim of the mug, obviously where you're picking it up to drink, and obviously put some fillets in to show how the handle and mug would kind of attach together. So we're going to start with the actual handle first, okay, and there's 4 fillets we're going to do. The first one on the top here is 5mm, one underneath is going to be 6. This is going to be 5mm again, and then 8mm at the bottom. So we choose our fillet tool, and all we've got to be mindful of is choosing the correct lines for where the fillets are going to be placed. So I've selected my line there, and I can go over here and amend the fillet to be the size I want. At this point, if you want to kind of play and see what happens with different fillets, it's probably a good idea, because sometimes you find that certain fillets become impossible to do. Obviously the radii become too big or they overlap each other, and sometimes you have these errors when you're creating your own products. So it's mindful to sort of experiment with this a bit as you go. So we're choosing 5 for the first one there. I'm then going to move the view cube around slowly like this, click the middle mouse to find myself in a position where I can see where the handle is attaching to the mug body itself, and I'm going to choose my next line there. Okay, as I said, this is going to be a radii of 6 like this, and I'm moving down now, middle mouse again, to get to my next one, which is on the inside surface at the bottom of the handle. I'm then selecting this one here, a fillet again, this time of 5mm, and clicking OK. And scrolling round to the final one on this plane here, the bottom surface there, and this is slightly bigger, a radius of 8. As I say, you can experiment with these if you wish and see what it looks like with slightly different radii as you go forward. I'm now going to zoom out just to see what I've done. Okay, so we've got those fillets done on those sides where the mug, and it now looks like it joins the body in a much better way than it did before. Now the last couple of fillets we're going to apply is to this top surface of the mug, and obviously to this side of the handle. Okay, so on the side of the handle I'm just going to choose these sides, this one here, and make it a radius of 1, and I'm going to select this one and that one. I'm going to move around then to the other side of the mug, the other side of the handle, and do the same on the other side. It's quite a good idea to double check your work here as well, because obviously you want to make sure we don't miss things off. As you can see, I've missed just the little bottom part of the fillet there, so I'm selecting that, and I'm just going to check over the other side as well, because it's very likely if it's a symmetrical object it's going to miss the same sort of fillet, and there we go, we've sure enough got another tiny little section there that can be filleted off. So I'm going to click OK there, and there we go, we've kind of rounded off the edges of the handle. Now finally, the top of the mug, the bit where we actually apply it to our mouth effectively, this wants to be rounded off as well. So I'm going to choose the fillet tool again, and I'm going to do a radii of 1.5 here, okay, and I'm going to select both the outside and inside edge, and obviously that radii is the maximum we can go because the thickness of the shell there is 3mm, giving us a perfect rounded top. Okay, so there we have the finished mug. Okay, the final stage really, if you wish, would be to apply some sort of decorations, or to apply some colours and finishes to this mug, and we're going to do that just using the tool up the top here. So we've done this before in a previous video. Now the mug, as we said, was bone china, and in the Inventor library you'll probably find there's a series of materials that you can actually use. So we're going to just go down here and have a little look at the materials library there, but if we kind of look in the little down arrow, we can choose ceramic, and we're going to choose a ceramic which looks like the actual bone china we've got here. Okay, so this is quite a shiny, glossy, glazed finish. I'm going to choose this one and just drag it up to the top. Okay, and I want to apply that to all of the surface. So what I'm going to do is select the whole of the image like this, and then just click that, and it's going to apply that to the cup itself. Now obviously this is the wrong colour, and I don't think it's quite as reflective as I'd like it to be. So whenever you've got these kind of generic materials that you can find on Autodesk, what you can also do is if you right click these, we can go to edit like this, and we can go in and change properties of the actual render itself. So you can see this is high gloss, that's great, it is porcelain, which is fantastic, but the colour there is this sort of a beige. So what I'm going to do is just swap that to white and click OK, and then click apply and OK again, just come out of this, and there we go. I'm happy with my finished material. Now the last thing we're going to do is just have a little look at this under a better finish to see the final object in all its glory, hopefully. But the one thing I do want to do is hide this work plane here so I can see it a bit more clearly. So I'm going to scroll down and find the work plane till it's highlighted. There it is, work plane 1. Right click this, and just where it says visibility and there's a tick box by it, I'm just going to turn that off so I can just see the mug itself. Now as I said, if we go into view up the top, you can see the visual style of this at the moment is shaded with edges, which allows the computer to run smoothly and quickly while we're working. Okay, now if we want to see what it's actually going to look like a bit more realistically, we can choose the realistic as the render model. Okay, and we can turn on lots of these other options to make it more realistic. So I'm finally going to put my shadows on. I'm going to see the reflection, including the ground plane there, so we can see it reflected across the ground plane, and we're going to change it from orthographic to perspective like this. So there we have it. There's a finished mug. We'll just see it from a few different angles like this, spin it round so you can see it finished like that. Hopefully you've produced something along those lines. Let's have a little look under the bottom as well so we can see that indentation, and we can see it rotated round from the different views. Okay, so I hope you have some luck with that, and I hope your rendering and your modeling goes well.